Hello, hello! Here we are again. And we are having a day 2 of our 4-day, well, I'm not gonna say challenge, but I have 4 days off at work, and therefore we have 4 days of streams back to back. And I have a great opportunity to actually show the work at the moment because I don't have any yarns attached. And that's because we are doing the lettering part, which means we only have black, white and yellow at use at the moment, and all of those colors go throughout the thingy. So I will cut them out at the end to start again at the other end. So yeah, it's going on good. We have reached the halfway mark, which is great, as you might think. We love it. So yep, we are doing it, and the flowers are looking pretty, the colors are good, and we have things. We will try to reach the 200 rows line like mark at the moment. So we are trying to reach 200 rows out of 300 done during these 4 days, which the first one was yesterday. This is the second day, and then we have tomorrow and Monday. And we're just having these challenges because it's a Christmas present and we want to get ahead of our schedule a little bit, because we are a bit behind. Now we are reaching the point where we should be, and then when we're there we try to get ahead a little bit, because I have a lot of work coming after these days off. So yeah, we're rushing it a bit. I did lack some motivation last week to do this, so I didn't do any rows, and that's not really good at the moment, because the total hours I need to do this is around 80 hours, and that means that the Christmas is coming sooner than later, and therefore I think it's like 40 days before Christmas at this point, so I don't have too much time and still have like 40 hours. I am originally from Finland and I live in Ireland at the moment. So I have a mixed bag of accents in my English. Might be a bit hard to pinpoint based on that. Do you like Eminem? Yeah, I do. Who doesn't? I think everyone does. I do have a view that shows both the work and me, and that's what we'll be using mostly. So you can see what I'm doing. You can also see my beautiful face. We are using cotton yarn here, and very super fine yarn, so it's very thin. Therefore we have very precise color changes and nice design for this, but it also takes a lot of time and around 80,000 stitches, so it's really labor intensive work to do tapestry that is so detailed as this one is, but we love to do it. So it's a labor of love. It's a present for my own child, so it's not a catastrophe if it's not ready, but because I'm not planning to offer anything else for Christmas present, I really do want to have this done. In love with Eminem? Well, you could be in love with worse persons, I think. So all the craft people out there, we are doing a tapestry project, and this project is a Fleetwood Mac logo, essentially one of their album covers, I think. The picture was provided by my daughter, who is gonna be the one using this in her room. we are doing only right to left with this one. And it means that we always have the right side of the work up, and we don't really care about the wrong side, which is looking like this. So there's a lot going on in there, but we don't care because that's going to be against the wall. Against the wall, so it really doesn't matter how it looks. And also because this is a kind of piece that will not be worn or washed regularly, it doesn't really have to be that foolproof when it comes to possible unraveling. A little bit more light so I can see better. We are also doing back loop only single crochet, so very simple technique. This is an easy project to do, technically speaking. What is not easy is to show up and actually do it, because, as I said, it's labor intensive, so it takes a lot of time. So you really have to have the motivation to show up and put in the hours to make something like this. But otherwise, there's no complicated techniques used in this one, so you are really not taking on any specialty project if you want to do one of these. So single crochet, the only thing is that your tension should be quite stable so that you can produce the same size of stitches and from day to day. So if you are first starting up, maybe do a couple of smaller practice pieces to see that your tension is up to the bar and the consistency is where it should be. But otherwise it's just single crochet, so it really isn't hard. It might look so, but it is not, I promise. We carry yarn if we have a transition between colors that is 10 stitches or less. If we have more than 10, we will cut and reattach, because carrying the yarn for too long will make it non-consistent, the stitches, so I don't like to do that. And it's also might bulge up some of the colors. We are doing yarn under rather than yarn over. It's just a personal choice for this. It's not mandatory or the only possible way of doing this, but that's what we chose based on the test pieces we did. This is the style that came closest to what I wanted to see. I am making a tapestry, a bit bigger one, to replace a poster in my kids' room. So it will be a wall hanging piece. And I've been trying to have this project moved forward a bit faster because I'm behind the schedule. It's a Christmas present. So, well, it will be ready if it will be, so it's not too important piece. It's not for a customer or anything like that. But because it's the only Christmas present I am planning to give, I really want it to be ready for Christmas. It's also not a surprise. She has chosen the design by herself. I just transformed the design to be crochet friendly. I still don't think it's too friendly, but you have to do some adjustments. I had to do some adjustments for the color work and stuff to make it a bit more simple than it originally was. I also like this piece very much. It's been like it's been coming along better than I actually thought it would. So I'll say that my skill level is where it needs to be when it comes to this. But the hardest thing with this one is that it's very much taking a lot of time. No, it's Tapestry. I have tested mosaic, but I don't use the mosaic crochet for tapestries that have as many colors as this one has, because I find it to be a bit hard to focus on more rows than one at a time to make it happen with tapestry. So I mean mosaic. This is a project I said in the beginning that is actually very easy to do, just labor intensive. It's a single crochet, so there's no like special stitch to it or anything like that. So it's just a single crochet. I work only from right to left, so I always have the right side up, which makes it easier to follow the pattern and to see how it's coming along, so there's not much mistakes. And I also use back loop only, so if you watch closely you can see how the colors are changing with this but yeah, it really is both sides to look nice. So yeah, that's what I don't do here, because it's a tapestry and it's going to actually go to a wall, so the other side is a mess. So I don't really, you know, care about it at all, because no one is gonna see it if they don't take it down. So I can show you the other side, but you can, this is why I don't carry yarn, is to make it like very even, but this is the other side. So this is really not presentable in any way, so this technique would not do, for example, a blanket or anything else. So it's just for this project. So I'm not gonna weave these in or anything, I've just knotted them to make sure that it doesn't unravel, but that's all. So I really can't use this technique for anything else except an actual tapestry that is going on a wall. But it is not hard. The only thing is the consistency of your tension, so it stays pleasant to look at. But it's nothing a crocheter that has been crocheting like a year or two can do. But it's slow progress. Yeah, it's like, if it's well, I don't think I have to do it with this one to sew anything on the background, but if I had to, it would be very easy. So I could just add a backing to it, basically any kind. If I was to make a blanket, this is very thin because it's a super fine yarn. I would probably add a fleece or something to make it a bit warmer. But otherwise I have the graph in front of me on a computer right there, and I'm just following it. I did it myself based on the picture. I have a lot of colors in this work in general, but at the moment we are just doing the lettering part in the middle, which is gonna say Fleetwood Mac, and that part is only black and white and yellow. So that's the part we're doing at the moment as we are in the middle of the work. So it's gonna be ready sooner or later. So every row we do now is closer to the end than the beginning of the project, which is great, honestly. I'm a little sick and tired of this at times, so I don't do it every day, trying to avoid burning myself out. I question my patience with this one as well. Like, I do like to make blankets, but then when I do blankets, I like to make blankets that do not need too much brain capacity. So, you know, stripes or something like that, that doesn't need to be counted too much, if that's what one can say. But this one is something I really, you know, can't watch TV while I do this, because I really have to, you know, follow the chart and do things, you know, in right places and have color changes. And at the best parts we have like 12 skeins of yarn attached to the work at the same time. It's really not something you can do with half of your eye open, so you have to concentrate. And I definitely won't be doing a project like this after this one. Thank you for the follow. I won't be. Yeah, but it's like, you can do that, but with this I found that it actually makes no sense to put anything on, because you can't really take your eyes off the work, and you, well, it depends on your brain of course, but I can't focus on the work if I have something going on in the TV. And I also did try to watch a show which ended up me making mistakes here and there because I didn't pay my full attention to this. So it's like a mentally betraying project, to be honest. Oh, Elvis Presley! That sounds labor intensive as well. You really don't want to get any of that, like, you know, wrong. And I kind of wanted to have this one, you know, perfect, no mistakes anywhere on the work would be the optimal choice for me with this one. I did make a mistake a couple of times, and it was because of the black. And because I am apparently blind, I have been missing some stitches in the black areas because it's so hard to see them. And I especially hate working with black because of that. And yet again, when I was planning my next tapestry, which will be smaller and with less color and less complicated design, I still made it black, because me and black, we have a love-hate relationship, because I love how it looks when it's ready, but I hate to do it. So we're kind of a little bit stuck. But once I finish this row and I detach the yarns, I can show you how we are getting on, because it's easier to lift it up when there's no yarns attached. But it actually, like, even though I say it myself, it's looking pretty good, and it's looking like the lines are straight and the design is where it should be, and the proportions of the pictures are staying intact, because it's a circle which is filled with flowers and text. So I was afraid that the circle would end up being oval in one way or another, even though I did some test pieces, but it's always different when it comes to small pieces compared to the large projects. So I really had to be, you know, careful with the design and how it would end up, because it's easy to make a pixel design, but whether it will look as it should when you actually crochet it, it's a totally different question. $200 Red Dead Redemption for Christmas present. Have you started that? This is 300 rows and I started it like a month ago and it's still not done. We are only halfway there. Though, I do have to say that I do have a full-time job and so on, so this is only a hobby. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I don't have full days to do this, and I don't imagine anyone else or many people have full day or want to do this for a full day. I don't think I could, even if I tried. I also promised to make a tapestry for my husband's office. That's probably gonna be Fallout 4 tapestry. But I'm gonna wait with that one because, like I said, I want to make something a bit smaller next. Just for my mental health. I want to finish something, not just do something. I want to finish a piece. A lot of time. Yeah, I feel like I have time, but then again, I don't. It's like, it's a bit of like a hobby dilemma because I don't do things for sale. I do them for myself, just to keep it enjoyable. I don't usually repeat anything I do. I just do it once and then that's it. The next time I'm gonna do something else. So that also means that I don't have any financial motivation to finish anything, and also I don't have the push, you know. If I would do a project for someone else, I would think about it that I will let them down if I don't finish it, but when you do things for yourself, mostly you don't have that. So maybe my brain would need a little bit of pressure to finish more things. But I've been doing a very large projects lately, like granny square cardigans, blankets and stuff like that. I do that too. The hyperfixation is real, but what happens after that first 6 hours, I don't ever want to touch the thing again. So I might not finish it ever. I once did, I wanted to have a pair of socks, like knee-high socks. That was knitting actually, not crochet, but it's a good example. So I finished one of those knee-high socks in like 2 days because it was so pretty and it looked so warm and I just wanted to have it ready, and then I never finished the other one. I found the sock when we were moving last time, the one lonely sock, and I was thinking about maybe I'll finish it, you know, now after all this time, but then I couldn't remember which size of the needles I was using or which yarn I was using or anything like that, so I just unraveled it and used the yarn in different place. But that's what happens to me sometimes. So no shame on any unfinished project from my side. And I sometimes think it's fine. It's also when I do a very large project like blankets, I might get motivated for something else completely, so I start a side quest project, which I have at the moment. Yeah, that's the worst. And that's also part of the reason why I make videos, is that when I have like a there was a week when I didn't do this project at all, and I was like, did I use number 3 or 3.5mm hook? What did I do? So I had video to look back to, and I was like, yeah, it's 3mm. That's good. I can continue with that. My mom used to have a project folder or a notebook type of thing where she always wrote down the projects she was doing, especially if she had multiple projects, and that would have the yarns and the hooks or knitting needles and where the pattern was from. So, like if she bought an online pattern, for example, who was it from and where to find it, because she always lost those too. But I don't have the discipline to do things like that, unfortunately. I just wanna crochet without any complications. That's me. Hope for the best. That's also what I've been doing a lot. I also well, I usually choose like size 5, so I probably took size 5 for this one as well. Mostly I'm right, or I don't notice the difference. Either way. That's the round. Now I will detach the yarns, do some knots, and then I can show you how it looks at the moment. So I don't do anything else but a fast knot here, just to make sure that the stitches don't stretch on the next round, and that's all I do. Maybe a little tightening up if needed. Usually no need for that. But yeah, like I said, it's a labor-intensive project, so we've been live now for 25 minutes and I finished 1 row. So there, you can calculate how much it takes time to finish 300 rows. Some of them are easier, some of them are harder, so there's a difference. It's not all the same. What is the advantage of working right side only is that I don't have to calculate much when I'm doing. I can just compare to the last round to check where the black stretch ended last round, and if it ends at the same place, I don't have to calculate anything. So this is really my favorite technique. The only bad side is that it doesn't produce items that are beautiful on both sides, so that's something to take into account. So now let me see. It's a little big, so it won't fit maybe perfectly, but this is where we are at the moment. So like I said, it's a Fleetwood Mac. This is now a mirror, but the Mac is here MAC. So, and we're going to the Fleetwood next. So a lot of letters at this point. I don't know how I'm gonna put it up. I think I need a piece of wood because it's light, but it's also kind of heavy, so I cannot just do this because, as you see, it will roll. So I really need some support all the way through the work to make it. And this is the back side. This can be some modern art if someone wants to, but that's it. That's how it looks. So really not what it should be if you wanted a two-sided work, but it is pretty. thank you for being here. I hope to meet you again. It's always nice to have a chat with people. Especially my fellow craft people. And thank you for the follow. So yeah, we are really pushing this project on lives at the moment. I have a second project. Actually, I have two projects. Work in progress projects as well. I have one that I am calling a 5-day chunky cardigan that is in testing phase. I'll make a video out of that if it is a successful test, but I'm trying to make a super chunky cardigan that is made out of squares, so one for front, one for back, and 2 for sleeves, and then just some ribbing, and see if that can be done in 5 days, not full days, but 5 days. And now we need to move the chart up a bit and start a new row. I've been so caught up to this that I actually ordered takeout. That should arrive also shortly, so I can have some food. I've been drinking way too much coffee, but that's normal, I guess. It was a bit wasteful, to be honest. We had a food delivery coming in and then I ordered food, but I made a promise to myself that we will reach row 200 within these days, and I am planning to do that. So sometimes you have to make sacrifices, and even though I like to think I'm a pretty good cook, the kids are always happy to have takeout for some reason. So we're having pizza and a spice bag as per usual. Didn't end up nice. What do you guys have underway at the moment, project-wise? You focusing solely on Christmas at the moment, or is there still some fall things going together? I feel like winter for me is a time where I'm not too productive. The darkness bothers me a little bit, so I don't have as much inspiration. Then the inspiration will pick up again when the spring hits, which I think is fine. And you can also tell me where you're watching from, because I love to know what people are up to all around the world. I find it's the seasons go differently in different parts of the world. So somewhere people are making Christmas things, and somewhere they are still making autumn things. And somewhere, like in Australia, they are making summer tops at the moment, which is fun. They have some small white thingies going next, and that's when I will attach a smaller yarn bobbin. I don't really have bobbins, but small balls of yarn to the work. I will have these smaller ones just when I have a few stitches that will go up the work, so I don't have to cut the yarn every time when I do this. Yes, honey?
Are you sure?
Yes, I am. There is food coming shortly, so please take it when it comes at the door.
Because
In like half an hour.
I was wondering because I kind of wanted you to fish for me because I was sick of it and I need fish for something.
Ask Vera for help. She needs help in Stardew Valley. Not talking to you anymore, honey. And I'm the master of that game. So we need 9 yellow ones at this point. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
He doesn't know.
Yeah, I can't do it now, so you will have to do something else.
When are you going to stop streaming?
In a couple of hours.
Huh.
2.
Okay.
A couple of hours. Needy baby. She's really not a baby.
Just need you to fish. Is that me?
Yeah, that's needy, honey.
Oh, wow.
Was it the bits? Go. Oh, they were early. I thought they were going to be around 5. I'm gonna check that. I'll be back in a minute. Okay, now I am a bit sad because it wasn't my pizza. There is a national election in Ireland, and there's a lot of people going from door to door. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 canvassing people to vote for certain persons. The funny thing is that I cannot yet vote in national elections, so it's a bit useless. They were canvassing for the teacher of my older child. They do that a lot here. I don't know if it actually makes difference and how much it makes a difference to go door to door. I found it a bit funny. Never happened in Finland. If you wanted to see flyers and polling and people talking about the candidates, you would go to the rallies they have. They really won't come to your door. But here we had a local elections, and those ones I actually can vote in. Local elections, and now we have the national, which I can't vote in yet, so it's a bit of waste of time to come to my door, but they do. I also would not have any idea who to vote, so. Politics are something I should pay attention to, but I don't kind of want to, so that's a dilemma. And then we will go to yellow. And it became dark. That's better. It's that time of the year when the lights go out so fast. Like in 30 minutes. I just started, it was okay, and now it was dark. One, 2, 3, 4. I should have 5. Why do I have 4? Because I'm missing one. So my very own fault, no one else's. So black and yellow only for a while. We are soon done with the letters. This is the first lettering part, which we will have ready in a moment. So this is the C coming together. So we have the upper part here, and then we have the A and the M. And it's not mac and cheese, it's Fleetwood Mac. So we're working from bottom to the top. Maybe I should do a tapestry to kitchen from the Crafts mac and cheese packet. That would be something different. And I'm floating the yarn back here so you can see black and yellow going one after another. So I'm floating the short distances, and then I'm cutting the yarn and reattaching for longer distances that are over 10 stitches or similar. And that is just to keep the consistency of the stitches. Floating more than 10 is a bit risky, because your float may end up being too loose, or it may end up being too tight, and then the work will bunch, or the stitches will be loose. So I'm only floating for short distances. For some reason I am super hungry. I could probably eat a horse. Remember to subscribe or follow if you are watching it right now. We will be back at least tomorrow and Monday, and then depending on the work schedule after that. But we are making a push for this one. And I'm keep making myself accountable, so I promise all of you that I'll be here. I promised that yesterday, and now I am here. So I'm gonna do it again, that I promised today that I'll be here tomorrow and Monday, so I'll be here. I really want to see this project ready, because it's already looking so good. I do have to find a way to block it. I do have blocking board, but that's for smaller items. I don't have a blocking mat. I don't kind of want to have one because it takes a lot of space. But I haven't come up with any alternative blocking methods for large works yet that I could perhaps steal and use for this project. So if you have any ideas, like how you... I usually, when I do like blankets and stuff, they do not need blocking, but this is made with cotton yarn, and it definitely needs some shaping after it's ready. And I do like to block things I make in general, just because one usually do not need it. And that's also because the materials I use for the blankets are not cotton, so they find their shape a bit easier usually. Oh yeah, I was about to tell the other working project. I have accumulated a lot of scrap yarns, end of skeins and stuff like that. So I'm making a blanket out of everything I have, like literally everything I have. Meaning that there are all the colors of rainbow, all the yarns, and I'm doing a sunburst square and then attaching the squares as I go. So that's the project. The other one I'm doing at the moment, that's an easy project because I can just do it while doing other stuff at home as well. Or yeah, I could just make one square and leave it at that, so it doesn't really need too much preparation or stuff. Oh, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so one more. And then back to yellow. Like this here is too much to float, so I will cut the yarn and reattach it. And this yellow patch is already a part of the Fleetwood part of the text. So we're moving along quite fast at the moment within the design. Also now cut the black yarn because it's a lot of yellow, so no floating here. I'm also running out of black yarn, but I'm going to the yarn shop tomorrow to buy a new skein because I underestimated the usage of the black yarn because I didn't realize I'll be floating it throughout the whole work so much. So I didn't realize I need much more of it. The rest of the yarn I overestimated, but this one I underestimated. Because the stitch count for the white one was like 5 times more than the black one. But the white is mostly used on the sides of the work, which means that it's not floated around the width of the work. Then 5 black ones here. And if they don't have the black one, then I'm gonna cry because I really need it. I should have bought more right away when I notice it's gonna run out. Which was maybe during the first 50 rows. I realized that I'm floating the yarn from start to finish of the work. How I am attaching the yarn is very simple. I have the black, which is the previous color here, and it goes under my middle finger. Then I have the new color, which is white, which the end is here, and it also goes under my middle finger, and then I just use it as it was the same yarn it was before, which is obviously not, but so I don't do any slip knots or anything to attach it. I just keep going with it, and then I secure the end on the wrong side of the work. So my philosophy with easiest way possible is the way to go with this one. You can do a slip knot when you attach. I have nothing against that. that is what you want to do. Or are used to do, but it's not necessary here. Just to save a little bit of time, because you're gonna use a lot of time doing this anyway. There's no better way of using a Saturday evening than doing this. It is almost 5 p.m. here. 4:35. Food should arrive at 5. Which means that I can eat. I don't know why I'm so hungry. I've been eating well today. Like breakfast and... Well, I only have soup for lunch. Maybe that's it. Been thinking about maybe a wooden frame for this one, so that I could use these fringes to tie it to the frame. Maybe. These are on the sides, so then the frame would go all over the work. That might work. But as I said, I haven't decided anything yet. I want to see how it hangs when it's ready, but it seems right now it is so heavy that I do have to come up with something else than just hanging it up. Now I have a couple of white ones that I will use above these white patches in the next round, so therefore I will not cut them, so I don't have to tie them up. That sometimes makes more sense if you have just a couple of rows, a spot of colors within a couple of stitches, so it makes much more sense to have those left to wait rather than cut them. But it doesn't always make sense, which is something, you know, to remember, to be honest. Because sometimes you end up putting in more work when you try to find ways to float than you would do when you just would cut it. Because making these knots on the back side is not too much. when we start the new row, then we need a slip knot, and I am giving a lot of yarn because I still don't know how I'm attaching this. So I have quite a long end of yarn here. Like I said, I have too much yarn, so I don't have to try to save it. And I will let you know what I think is the best ways to hang these big things up once I know what it is. But it's my first project in this scale, so therefore I have no idea yet how this is gonna play out at the end. Is that my food? I'm gonna leave you for a couple of minutes when the food comes in. Kids are downstairs, but just to make sure that I have everything I ordered. Not too often they miss things, but sometimes they do. It's usually a drink that is missing. I also started this weekend stacking for Christmas treats because most of them were for sale in Tesco and Aldi. So I bought those celebration tubs, some crisps, and some 7-Up this week. And then next week maybe some wine, maybe some Pepsi or anything like that. That's the food. I'll be back in a minute. I'm back. Look at this glorious, it's a spice bag, but in a box. So. Finally food. And there was everything in the order, including drinks, so all is good. Work is getting heavy, so it's slipping off the table. I need 8 yellow ones, and then we're having a new black spot. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Change for black one. This is the letter D we're doing here. So this black will be the inside of the D. Then we're having 7 yellow ones. And back to black. We should have white here waiting for us. And that's exactly why we left it here, because we have only 2 white ones here. So it would have not made any sense to cut that yarn. And also the other white one we left here for this white patch that is in the middle of the letters. Thank you for the likes. Appreciate it. Move the picture. Following the correct spot. And then yellow, which is too far, so we're gonna cut it and reattach it like we did last round at the same spot. The yarn that is always on my right hand side will go over the yarn that is on the left hand side. So no matter which color it is, it just matters where the skein is in front of me. And that will keep the yarns untangled when you follow the rule. I seriously love spice bags. Like, it's the best food in these islands. Yeah, here you can see. Now the M is kind of done, and the C is a bit bigger, so it will have a little bit here. But I think it's coming along quite nice, and it's easy to say what it says. I was worried about that a little bit. It's not, you know, clear enough. 2, 3, 4, 5. Is it 5 beads? So 2 more. It was a little bit too long to float. I would think it was nearing 20 stitches, so I don't take the chances. I just got it. Just to keep things simple. And floating for too long is something that causes just trouble, so I try to avoid that. It feels like a good idea, but it's probably not, so. I do have to remind myself of that at times. And then the last bit of weight, and then we have yet another row done. we are moving on nicely with this one. As planned for the long weekend. Yes. Maybe. We're watching like every weekend one episode of Walking Dead, no more than one, with my teenager. Just to have that quality time together. Placed a little bit for every weekend, and my younger one, she's 8, is watching, I think they're watching Dragon Ball maybe, with her dad. Some anime anyway. I think it's Dragon Ball. So they also have like that together time. And maybe the next shows will be something else and we will switch, but for now, these are the ones. I'm gonna eat a little bit and I'm gonna mute the mic so you don't have to hear me eat.